So what we have here is one of our 220 volt 30 amp extension cords that somebody has made a whip out of, meaning that they've taken the male end of it off and they wired this directly in the breaker. All the machines should go out with a whip, and so when this happens I'm going to show how to put a new male connector on. Now these are over $20 a piece, so we want to not be in this situation much more than we are. First thing is you want to keep this as short as you can and still being wide enough to fit in the connector. I want to take that back about right there. Next we want to strip the wires. Actually that was cut, so got a knife on you? Let's see if we can make this. Ideally we'll do this with a utility knife. Here we go. So we'll just very carefully score this so that we can get a nice straight end as it's coming off. I say score rather than cut because you want to sneak up on the cut that you want, because you don't want to cut the insulation of those wires there. If you score it enough, you can actually rip that. We want to rip the last part of it so that we're not cutting into the insulation. We can probably go a little bit shorter. The tighter we put this, the more durable the connector will be. It's easier to do it sloppy, but it's more durable if you size these tightly. Okay, so now we've got our three things cut at about the same length. We're going to strip them just a little over 3/8 of an inch, about 7/16 is what we're shooting for as far as how far back those are stripped. We want to use a soft touch. I kind of cut the ground a little bit, meaning that some of those copper strands got cut as I stripped it, and that's suboptimal. You want to take it on that 10 gauge mark at about 7/16 of an inch and kind of score it, and then a nice soft touch so that you're just ripping that insulation off without cutting into the wires too badly. Okay, next we want to open up our receptacle here so our impact driver is a little faster. This part over it first. So plenty of room. Kind of boogered that up a little bit, but that's okay. We want to keep these in the direction that they want to go. We don't want to twist those up too bad. I always put the ground in first because that one makes the most sense. You see that that goes right to the back and there's no excess kind of coming out of there. We'll get close with the impact driver, but before we start stripping, we'll finish with the hand screwdriver so that we can get it right nice and tight, but not over tight. You get kind of a feel for different materials. If you're on brass, you're going to not go as hard as you would on steel or so on. The softer the metal, the less torque you can put on that thing. Okay, so you can kind of see how that little thing falls down there. You're going to put that in between the two plates, nice and tight. And then again, it's easier to get close with your impact driver. Give ourselves a little bit more to work with here. Lost it. There it is. Okay, so we hold that nice and tight. Nice and snug. And then lastly this one. And you can see that like we keep that nice and tight right there. We don't want a whole lot of excess. It's a little tricky getting the tip in there and getting that just right. There it is. You want to make sure that you got that thing all the way against the insulation. It's kind of sloppy craftsmanship right there, spinning that. That's not usually how we roll. Okay, nice and snug. Okay, so you can see that that's nice and tight. All those connectors are good. And then you look, there's a little notch right there. And you feel where the ridge is, right there. So that notch goes to the ridge, just like that. And then you can take this in with your impact driver. And then you put this part on here, and you can see that when it's done right, the insulation's tight up in there, and it's way less likely for water to get where you don't want it, and it's going to resist all kinds of foolishness when you're putting it together. So you'll sandwich those things on there. You'll start it by hand. And then notice I don't take it all the way down with the impact driver. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. So you gotta catch. Right now there's these little bushings here for thinner wire. We don't want that joker in there. So we're just gonna pull that out. We're going to pull his brother out here because we're running a 10 gauge wire, or thicker. Actually, I'm sorry, this is like a 4 gauge wire, and so you want that without that so you're not pinching that wire real bad. That, as tight as it'll go, will probably be in good shape. It's a real sloppy fitting thing. And then you finish it up. And then when you're finished, you want to check connectivity with your multimeter, making sure that everything is squared away and that it works. And that's it. Thanks for watching.